Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, I wanted to talk about Kingdom Hearts, the cloud versions for Nintendo Switch, considering that I haven't actually talked about these since the demos were released halfway throughout last month. It's been an interesting situation, and I feel like this is a bit of a hot topic as of right now. Of course, the demos were there to serve as a bit of a trial before you make the conscious decision to pick up these bad boys come February 10th. And I'm so proud of the Kingdom Hearts community. A lot of people are leaning into the realm of absolutely not, this is not for me. Square Enix, how dare you? This is bonkers, dude, what are you doing? One thing I want to bring up real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes is KH13 yesterday posted out a tweet, poll of the week, which Kingdom Hearts cloud game will you pick up? And like the comments are just none, 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 none. None. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic to see because, like, honestly, if we stick to this opinion right here, this will really be screaming in Square Enix's face, hey guys, why don't you make actual native ports? You know, I kind of want to actually own my game. Owning digital games is one thing because there is still that feeling of like, okay, I don't physically own it, but owning a cloud version is just essentially a license to be able to stream the game. And of course, if the servers that are used to host these cloud games are ever shut down, that means you no longer have access to that game that you spent money on. What? So digital is obviously better than nothing. It means that you do own the game. It's downloaded there into the storage of your system. And I think that honestly, if we cry about this enough, this is really going to send Square the message to actually make native ports. So fantastic to see that at this moment in time, everyone is like, nah, absolutely not, dude. This is not the way you experience the games. And yeah, honestly speaking, the best way to experience the Kingdom Hearts games at this point is to stay well away from any streamable version of the game, aka the cloud versions on Nintendo Switch. So I'm yet to play the cloud versions of the Kingdom Hearts games for myself, and yesterday I decided, alright, let's try out these trials before I make the absolutely, what I know is to be a ridiculous decision of purchasing one, and yes, I was only going to purchase one of the Kingdom Hearts games for Switch because I believe that the pricing point of these are absolutely absurd. You're charging almost full price for each individual title yet again. This happened when the PC versions of the games ended up releasing. It's insane to think that because the console versions of the game, you can literally buy the all-in-one package from time to time, discounted down to like 30 to 40 US dollars. Generally, when looking at just 2.8, Kingdom Hearts 3, 1.5, 2.5, all singularly, those games are usually like 20 bucks, 15 bucks. So to see these prices, these absurd prices yet again, for a version of the game that is nowhere near definitive because technically you don't really even kind of own it in any type of physical sense, not on the storage inside your device, and of course not even on a cartridge, but somewhere up in the fucking cyberspace. To be charging that price is... what are you doing? So yeah, I was gonna buy one just for science purposes in order to give you guys some coverage on it. I'm sure we would also be able to come out with some pretty interesting memes too. And I came across something very, very interesting. And that is that for the likes of me here in New Zealand and for my fellow neighbors over in Australia, we don't have access to the cloud versions of Kingdom Hearts at all, dude. I did a little bit of research on this, and yeah, cloud streaming for the Nintendo Switch is currently only available in the United States and Canada. Now, I also believe that this is available in parts of Europe, but not all parts of Europe. It is also available in Japan too. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give you guys any coverage of the Kingdom Hearts games on Switch. I was going to specifically get number 3. But I don't have access to it. Now, of course, there is a reason as to why this is a thing, right? So, because these are cloud versions of the game, it means that they are being streamed from a server which is located over in the States. The further away from the States you get, the more that ping is going to increase. And when it comes to game streaming, you need, for one, a very high internet speed. Most average internet speeds these days, though, should be able to handle game streaming. It just means for anyone that has a lesser than average internet speed, yeah, this kind of stuff is going to be pretty much unplayable. And even still so, with people that have been testing out the trials of these KH games that do have average internet speeds, there is so many desync issues audio issues, the game basically completely skipping and catching up seconds later, but by that point you've already been slapped over by several heartless dildos. As well as that, being close to the server itself also helps out too. So if you're in the country of origin where the server is, you're going to have the best experience. So I'm assuming for Japan, Nintendo have their own cloud server located there. Hopefully somewhere in Europe they have the same thing, though I can't confirm. And for the likes of Canada and the US, they've got one in the US. So it does make sense that for the likes of me in the middle of absolutely nowhere in Australia, we're not able to, of course, use this service whatsoever. I would assume that in due time, Nintendo will probably get some kind of oceanic cloud server going, but as if I give two tosses of an armadillo, right? Cloud gaming just doesn't interest me at all whatsoever. I can see how it can be useful for those people that obviously don't have strong enough hardware in order to play certain games. In that sense, it really is helpful, but of course, you need the internet speed and the specific servers to go along with it in order to make it an actual enjoyable experience. I absolutely have to share HMK's clip from him trying out Kingdom Hearts 3, because this is just a great demonstration of what more than probably half the players will experience when playing these cloud versions of the Kingdom Hearts games.
What happened? What happened?
It's like every single time I watch that, it's so good. I love you, Gio. What's crazier too is when looking at specifically the trials of the game, you're only given about I think 15 minutes. This information is coming from BizKit, so thank you so much for sharing this information, dude. I do appreciate it. Essentially, yeah, you're only given 10 to 15 minutes. And you guys obviously know how long the prologue segments of Kingdom Hearts games are. This essentially means that you can get little to no actual testing time of how the games kind of properly run at all within the trials, which I think is just sort of absurd once again. Considering that for one, Nintendo and Square are charging this price, I think this is pretty much more so coming from Nintendo, to be honest, these price points, and not allowing people to have a proper full-fledged experience. I think an hour would have been sufficient enough, but to only give 15 minutes considering how many starting cutscenes there are in a Kingdom Hearts game, that's a little bit shitty, man. Also, too, the entire idea of having Kingdom Hearts on this system, unless, of course, you use the Switch as your primary console, this whole side of things probably won't matter to you, but it probably will at the same time. But the idea as to why we wanted the games on the system is to take the Kingdom Hearts games around with us portably. I've been, foaming over this idea for years. We have made countless Kingdom Hearts on Nintendo Switch videos because I love this idea so much. But what's the point if, for one, playing the games over Wi-Fi is going to be a worse experience? To get the best experience possible, you're going to want to use an Ethernet setup, which the standard Switch system doesn't even have a LAN port in it anyway, so that's going to be the majority of people using the Switch, right? So for those people, if they want to get a good cloud experience, they're gonna have to buy the LAN adapter, which is an extra cost. Of course, if you own the Switch OLED model, thankfully the dock now comes with an inbuilt LAN adapter, but it's honestly bonkers that Nintendo crafted a brand new system in 2016 without a LAN port. That blows my mind. The Wi-Fi won't be recommended for playing these games, but if the idea is we want to be able to take them around portably, the Switch doesn't have a SIM slot in it, so it's not like you have 4G, 5G connectivity with the Switch system to be able to portably and truly portably take the Switch on the go and play these cloud games. That idea is pretty cool, so long as the Switch actually had a SIM slot in it. I couldn't say for sure about all the technicalities, but I'm fairly certain that the 5G connectivity would likely be able to game stream. So in my opinion, Kingdom Hearts, the cloud version, honestly doesn't make sense in the slightest whatsoever. And what's crazier is too, Square Enix have actually commented on a native port version of the Kingdom Hearts games in the past, and one of the reasons they've given towards not developing a port for Switch is the storage issues. The Switch only comes with an inbuilt storage of 32 gigabytes, but you can put a micro SD card into the system. So, like, I don't even know why this was even brought up. What? And I also don't want to hear this either. I've constantly stressed this point, but I don't want to hear the whole Kingdom Hearts 3 and 0.2 won't be able to run on the Switch because it's underpowered. Yeah, sure, it's nothing like the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or PC spec-wise, but if the right optimizations were made, yeah, the system would be able to play these games. Looking at the older Kingdom Hearts games, the Switch wouldn't have any issue whatsoever to be able to run like Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, BBS, etc. But yeah, if the right optimizations were made by Square Enix, a true native port that was built specifically for the Switch, it would run fine. If we have games like, Doom, Wolfenstein, get dang The Witcher 3, this is possible. It just comes down to, obviously, if Square Enix want to do it or not. And I understand. At the moment, Square are absolutely up to their tits with projects, specifically looking at the Kingdom Hearts ones. We know that there are at least a couple of Kingdom Hearts projects in the cake mix as of right now. So yeah, everything's time and resources. I understand that. But to be fair, with these cloud versions, it isn't really giving them a good look as of right now. And I have to say, well done to the community for taking a big stance on this. I think the more that we complain and moan and bitch about this, hopefully something will come around. Square Enix, as they have shown over the years, do pay attention to feedback over on social media. So let's keep it up. So however guys, that right there is the Kingdom Hearts cloud version scenario that is currently ensuing. It will be interesting to see when the full version does release and like what comes out of that. It's happening pretty much tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give you guys any coverage because apparently I am in the Stone Age hanging out with Fred Flintstone. Hopefully you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. However guys, I'm Cynical, and I'll catch you dudes in the next one. Peace.